Idle burgers here. Mackenzie, Jeremiah, 2 for $1. Idle burgers. Get your idle burgers here. Do you want an idle burger?
What are the hubbub of this is a worship service, you know.
I know. Isn't it great? Get your idle burgers.
We just observed the Lord's Supper. So we don't eat other food, and we certainly don't eat food sacrificed to idols during worship. Yuck. Double yuck. It just isn't done.
I know, but the Apostle Paul said there is really no such thing as an idol. Idols don't exist. All food comes from God. Therefore, all food is good, so eat up. Idle burgers. Get your idle burgers.
It sounds so awful. Sounds like we are breaking bread with the devil. Double yuck.
Oh, look. Paul says people with weak minds somehow think food that has been offered to idols is somehow special.
So don't we have to watch what we eat around them so they won't get confused? Right. Is it okay to eat food sacrificed to idols in front of people who don't know there are no idols?
You're right, so we've got some big teaching to do.
Oh, so it's not just our job to go ahead and eat idol burgers in public, but to teach everybody that since God created all food, that is not such thing as something being wrong with food because someone said it was given to idols. And we have to be patient with people who are not comfortable with us eating idol burgers. Even though we don't have a problem with it, Paul says it is better not to get them in front of people if that would cause them to lose their relationship with Christ. Oh, so it's not wrong to eat idol burgers, but it may still hurt someone else's relationship with God far out?
That's right. Paul said knowledge puffs up, but God's love builds up. So, would you like an idol burger? Have one. And here's an idol burger for you. You want to taste it?
That's good. Divine.
Ah. Idol burgers. Get your idol burgers here. Idol burgers. But if it would make you more comfortable, maybe we could eat veggie burgers. A few years ago, it was Super Bowl Sunday, and Donna Neff and Charlie Neff were attending our church. And they were regular attendees. They both happen to be blind. Donna has a lovely soprano voice, and she often sings with the choir when she's here. And like Jeremiah and Mackenzie and their family, whenever they come, they have a secure place in the fabric of Little Whitechapel. Charlie was struggling a bit. He was a brilliant man, but he had several physical issues, and he has since, as you know, succumbed to them. He basically came here because Donna enjoyed it, But it was difficult for Charlie to find a place to fit into the Little Whitechapel community. And I thought about it, and I thought about it, and then I remembered that Charlie had played football in high school and college. So do you guys remember that Super Bowl Sunday, those of you who were here? Mm-hmm. We stuffed the bulletin full of phrases from football that many of us had heard, but we didn't know what they meant, with no answers. And the congregation's job was to stump Charlie Neff. And we got going, and the congregation went down the list and hollered out things I never thought they would pick. And Charlie, who had, if you'll pardon the pun, leveled the playing field quite nicely by his knowledge, just threw them off with the term, in terms of the master that he was. He was amazing. I think there were probably 40 or 50 terms on that list, and as you called them out, he threw off their definitions with no problem at all. There were other people here that day that I'm sure knew nearly as much football terminology as Charlie did, but that day, his place as an authority in this community, teaching something about which we all had an interest, but about which he had a passion, was undisputed and secure. There was no doubt that football had made him, for that day, a strong and secure part of the community of God. I went back and looked at my notes from that Sunday, and I saw that I quoted the great Danish philosopher Søren Kierkegaard. And this is what I had said that Dr. Kierkegaard said. No anonymous author can more slyly hide, and no reasoning can more carefully recede from a direct relation than God can. God is in creation, everywhere in creation, but God is not there directly. And what that means is that people sometimes have to look deep within themselves and in their community and in their experience to apprehend what God is doing, to apprehend the divine. Maybe it's a beautiful anthem. Or maybe it's just learning and listening to the definition of what first and 10 means. You cannot absolutely reason God in or out of anybody. People have their own relationship with their Creator and their own journey to the Creator that you cannot always understand, but you can choose to respect. In learning to speak their language in as much as you can, doing the things that touch their souls, in lowly making sense of what they say and what they think on their terms, healing their sickness, casting out their demons, trying to understand why they love the Giants or the Patriots in 2012, or the Seahawks and the Patriots in 2015, engaging in passion with and compassion for people, you can experience God on their terms. And at just the right time, they may see God on yours. Paul operated and wrote in a different context than we find ourselves today. For Paul, the end of the world was coming very quickly. And so his advice to any Christians was, just don't do anything to upset the apple cart. If people do things that you don't understand, just stay away from them. If you do things that cause people to slip and fail, stop doing them, because Christ is coming back again soon. That way, we can just keep the kingdom together until Christ comes. But we live in the 21st century. And 21 centuries later, we are still trying to find different ways to enfold people into our community. And like Mackenzie and Jeremiah did today, The church does its best to use all kinds of storytelling to see God in the different ways that we experience the community. And that Sunday, our church was doing its best to see God in a gifted man by experiencing his gifts on his terms with the general community. People met me at the door that Sunday telling me they had fun in worship that Sunday. I texted Donna last night and I reminded her about that Sunday, and she said, "Oh, it was so much fun. I remember Charlie had a great time." Who knows? People may have left that service that Sunday and actually put a couple of extra bucks in the Super Bowl of caring. But unbeknownst to us that Sunday, there was also another couple here. A couple who had been married for many years and who were struggling. The husband of that couple made his living in sports. The wife had it up to here with sports. After worship, the beleaguered wife met me at the door and told me very passionately and very loudly that she did not come to church to hear about football. She came to church to hear about God, and she stormed out the door. Whoa. In seeking to affirm one man and one couple, we have really irritated another woman, the spouse of another couple. And that's Paul's lesson here. We can have knowledge of who God is, of who God in Christ is, that frees us. But if we disregard what others are going through and how they experience what they are going through, so that they are driven away from the church, do we do damage to the body